slept like most babies. I smiled, I laughed, and I was pretty easygoing. She started noticing a difference in my personality around 15 months of age. It was around that time that I stopped playing like the other kids played. I said very few words, my communication skills were delayed, and I started gagging on lots of foods. Taking me out in public was extremely difficult since I had a very low tolerance for noise and crowds. The worst part of being a baby with red hair. For some reason, everyone wanted to touch my hair, and I did not want to be touched. My mom said that it was almost funny. I guess I was given red hair to build up my tolerance for people. When I was 2 years old, my mom and dad felt like I needed some extra help. So they had me evaluated for speech and occupational therapy. A therapist would come to our house twice a week to help me do small things like hold my hands the right way when picking up small objects, putting blocks on top of each other, helping me communicate with my hands and with my words. This went on until I started elementary school. When I first started school, I still didn't really have a clue. My mom knew that I was extremely gifted, but my social skills were delayed. I still wasn't quite sure how to communicate with others, and school was very difficult. My parents were at the school a lot that first year, and my mom finally decided that it was time to have me tested. She read many books on developmental delay and had a feeling that I might have a form of autism. We saw lots of specialists and they finally diagnosed me with Asperger's syndrome at age 4. We were told that I would probably never do lots of things that kids with autism can do, but we refused to believe it. Crowds made me nervous. I wouldn't eat anything but hot dogs and chicken nuggets. My diet has expanded only slightly since then, but I am at least trying a few new things. I couldn't wear clothes with tags or with prints on them. They made my skin itchy. Tags still bug me. Haircuts were a disaster, and I was convinced that the vacuum cleaner was evil. The next few years were very challenging for everyone. I spent the first part of elementary school thinking that I was a professional golfer, since I would only watch the Golf Channel. Then I became a Power Ranger. I had every color Power Ranger outfit except for pink. So you could imagine that I got into lots of confrontations at school, since the only way I knew how to communicate or play was to swing a golf club or to fight. I assumed this was all normal behavior until I got into trouble like every day. It didn't take long for my mom to realize that I was learning my social skills by mimicking behavior I watched on TV. Needless to say, I was no longer to watch the Power Rangers. Since I was in regular education classes, I had to learn how to adapt to my surroundings the best way possible. We knew that I was smart enough to be in these classes and thought that the more I could be around all different types of personalities, the better it would be for me to understand and develop coping skills. My mom was tough, and she was not about to treat me like I had a disability of any kind. She never treated me different, and she still doesn't. I continued occupational and speech therapy all through elementary school. I went from not being able to say many words or communicating to talking nonstop, according to my parents, from 6 a.m. until bedtime. In third grade, I developed epilepsy and was having lots of mini seizures. This affected some of my learning and was a slight setback. We eventually found the right medication that helped me. As I entered fourth grade, things started to bug me more. I didn't like the sounds that kids in my class would make. I had very little tolerance for loud noises. and if things were changed in my routine, it would ruin my whole day. I needed things to always be the same. I needed a schedule, and I had to stick to it. I didn't want to talk with anyone, and I surely don't want people to look at me. When I would go shopping with my mom, she would give me an old phone to play with and hold up to my ear to have pretend conversations with my grandmother and my dad, so that I wouldn't have to talk to people. It'd take my focus off the crowded lines and the noises, which allowed me to be involved without being engaged. So when things started getting really difficult at school, we made a paper phone that I could hold up to my ear as I went from one class to the next without having to make eye contact or communicate. It was the only way that my mom and teachers knew how to get me from point A to point B without having a meltdown. It was then the school decided to put me in a C-SETS class. My mom sat me down and explained to me what autism was and why I was in this class. I went from being taught like every kid to being taught at a much slower pace. I regressed a lot and didn't learn much in 4th and 5th grade. My mom really struggled with this since she knew I could do more. I was okay with doing less. I enjoyed not having homework. My mom had lots of meetings at the school about my troubles and wanted me put in a program that would fit me better. She was told that they had developed new classes all over Columbia County for kids like me, and that Stallings Island is where I needed to be. It was not in my school district at the time, but that's okay. That was okay. Middle school was pretty challenging at first. My mom was at the school a lot. I was playing catch up, and that was hard for me. I felt like I couldn't do the work that I was given. I didn't like not knowing things. I felt like I was trapped inside my own head. I couldn't communicate my feelings and thoughts the way I wanted to. I had tremors. I would get very angry and hit my head against the wall or slap myself in the face. My mom told me one day that I was not allowed to do this anymore because my body still belonged to her. She still pays for it, so I wasn't allowed to hurt her body. She used the same technique when it came to washing my hair and brushing my teeth. I'm guessing that I'll be able to claim my own body when I turn 18, but I have a feeling that it's going to be when I graduate college. As a result of my behavior, my mom quit her job so that she could volunteer at school and be home with me to help me study. Well, everything except math. My stepdad helps me with math. He will even help me during a Georgia football game, if you can believe that. Well, we made it through middle school, and now I'm in high school. My first year was scary, but I survived it. I joined a wrestling team, which I'm still healing from. But it helped me build some well-needed confidence. In the 9th grade, I failed some classes, including 5th grade math. Lakeside got smart and hired the best teachers on the planet, which is Miss Joy and Miss Daves. They have helped me a lot. They even convinced me to take drama. A teenager that didn't like to be looked at or put in awkward situations was up on stage doing crazy scenes with other classmates. I was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I learned to like and look forward to going to class. I learned ways to cope with my anger, and I passed 9th grade math with a B. I am now in 11th grade, and I find myself once again in the spotlight in front of all of you staring at me. And I'm no longer uncomfortable. I still have the best teachers on the planet, the best parents on the planet, and the best family. I still have meltdowns, and the schedule is still very important. I've been able to reach goals, many goals that no one thought I would ever be able to reach. I now have a learner's permit. I have a part-time job that I have to be 30 minutes early for because I'm still learning time management. I can now handwrite a paper even though my tremors sometimes make it difficult. And most importantly, I can communicate with my peers. I can cook. I will graduate high school and go to college. And I love to give hugs. I never really knew what I wanted to do when I got out of school. I love electronics and can fix just about any computer, game system, or television that you put in front of me. But I realized that my real passion is working with kids like me. I want to help kids of all ages that struggle with being different. I want to teach them that they can do anything they set their minds to as long as they try their hardest. All they need is some patience and encouragement. These are the things that have given me the courage to talk in front of all of you today. I want to be a leader, a friend, and a role model. My stepfather reminds me all the time that the definition of a real man is someone who rejects passivity, accepts responsibility, leads courageously, accepts greater rewards, God's rewards. That's the guy I want to be. Thank you all for listening to my story.